Boys need to learn perseverance in the face of adversity in order to succeed at life. I can't stress this enough. When Frank, my son here, was in 6th grade, he came to me and he wanted to go out for the wrestling team. Now, I wrestled all through high school and into college, so I knew what it was going to take to go out for the wrestling team, even at 6th grade. A lot of hard work. It's a brutal sport. And, you know, my son, I love him to death. He's a great kid, but he doesn't have a mean or competitive bone in his body. And so we talked about, you know, what it was going to take and some of the things that were going to happen. And he still wanted to go out. And one of my rules with my kids has always been, you know, you can do whatever you want to do, but you're not going to quit. You know, you're going to stick with it for at least like a season, something like that, so that you at least give it a chance. You're not going to start for 2 weeks and then quit because you don't like it. So, okay, no, I want to do it. I like doing it. All right, go ahead. Well, I don't know if you know much about wrestling, but wrestling is weight classes, not ages, okay? So, you know, Frank, a little bit overweight at that age, he was wrestling in practice against 8th graders, even though he was in 6th grade. Now, can be a big difference between 6th graders and 8th graders. Usually, 6th graders haven't been through puberty yet. 8th graders, many of them have man muscles, some of them got beards. Well, after a couple weeks of practice, Frank's coming home every day, crying, sometimes bleeding, battered, saying that he wants to quit. Saying that he's wrestling against 8th graders and that they're hurting him. And he just doesn't want to be hurt anymore. So that's breaking my heart, okay? What am I going to do? Make matters worse, my wife's in the background giving me the look, okay? You know the look is like, that's my baby. If this goes poorly, you're going to be sleeping with the dog. Well, make a long story short, I didn't let him quit. I made him keep going, even though it was painful and it hurt me to have to force him to do that. And his first match, he wrestled against a young fella that was a little bigger than him, actually, about his age, though. And wrestling is 3 2-minute rounds, okay? And for the first 5 minutes and 50 seconds, this young fella threw him all over the ring like a puppy with a chew toy. And Frank's main defense, I seemed to be to lay on his belly and protect himself, probably a defense mechanism that he'd learned in practice. Well, with about 10 seconds left in the match, inexplicably, this young fellow, exhausted from throwing Frank around the ring for 2.5 rounds, falls on his back, exhausted. Frank looks up, gets up and falls on him and pins him with 10 seconds left in the match. Okay? Now, of course, Frank's full of energy, on his toes, dancing around like Rocky, right? And Frank looked at me across the ring, and I could tell from the look in his eyes that he knew, he'd learned that by persevering and overcoming hardships, that he experienced the glory of victory. And he learned a valuable lesson that day about not quitting, about persevering through hard times and struggles. You know, as men and boys grow up later on, they face a lot of hard times. I mean, marriage isn't easy, raising a family is not easy, keeping a job isn't easy, and if boys learn to quit at an early age, they're going to start quitting on all those things when they get older as well. So I just want to encourage you not to let them quit, particularly when something is tough.